Okay. Okay, let me cover myself like this. Here we're gonna have the title is The Shortest History of India. The shortest history of India. I repeat, the shortest history of India. Okay. It's like, who were the earliest Indians? Who were the earliest Indians? And how has religion shaped Indian history? What were Indians' major empires? And what is the future of Indian democracy? The book was written by John, my goodness, John Zabriskie. I don't know this name, but I think it is John Zabriskie. Let me hope so. Uh, the shortest history of India. Okay, by John Zabriskie. Maybe John Zabriskie? I don't know. Russians, you have to help me with that accent. Maybe you have to. Okay, we have the contents. I'll note on the pronunciations, place, names, and dates. Okay, introduction. We have lost civilizations. No, sorry. Lost civilization, religious revolutionaries, the classical age, the coming of Islam, the magnificent Mughals, Martians and missionaries, the lighting of the fuse, the long road to freedom, creating the nation state, a new India. Yeah. Someone is there? Hello? Is there someone at my door? Okay. Okay. Let us just jump. We go to the introduction. I don't mind about my English, the way I read English, because it is not my mother tongue language. So whatever it is, that we are going to the introduction. Whatever you can rightly say about India, the opposite is also true. British communist Joan Robinson. Early on the morning of 9th August 1942, the leader of Indian National Congress, oh my god, the names, Jawaharlal Nehru, and the 9 of his colleagues were abandoned into a train at Bombay's Victory. Oh my god, okay. Terminus? Oh my goodness, the English is, ooh. The destination was Ahmednagar Fort in the sweltering hills of modern-day Maharashtra. In 1907, the last of great Mughals, Aurangzeb, had died in the fort. The moment of his passing coinciding and oh my goodness, and oh my god, coinciding with a whirlwind so fierce that it blew down all the tents standing in the encampments. Villages were destroyed and trees overthrown under the British Ahmednagar and had been turned into a high security jail. Nehru's oh my god, incarceration would last 2 years and 9 months. The largest of these 9 stints as a prisoner of the Raj. His crime was to launch the Quit India movement. Desperate, beat the Congress to pressure British to granting immediate independence if it were to count on India's full support for the war effort. The war would be almost over by the time he was released. India's future Prime Minister described Ahmadnagar as a kind of Plato's cave, a prison whose inmates can only see shadows of what is going on around them. Yet he took solace in the sky over his prison yard with its frizzy and colorful clouds. My English is not good, but we can go for that. In the daytime, the brilliant starlit nights inside the fort's wall was a firmament of a different kind. Nehru's small cohort of yellow prisoners represented a cross-section of Indian politics. As scholarship and society between them, they spoke four of India's classical languages: Sanskrit, Pali, Arabic, and Persian, as well as more than half a dozen of its modern ones, including Hindu, Urdu, Bengal, Gujarati, Marathi, and Telugu. I had all this wealth to grow upon, and the only limitation was my own capacity to profit by it. Nehru mused. There was a plenty of time to cultivate a garden, hold impromptu seminars, and speculate on what was going on in the rest of the country. As he had done during his early jail times, Nehru took the opportunity to satisfy his voracious appetite for reading classical works on history and politics, and to translate those ideas into his own writings. Compiled during many long hot days, the discovery of India 1946 would become his best-known work. Nehru dismissed it as a jumble of ideas, a journey through the past that also peeped into the future. Much of the work is just that, a skein of unconnected thoughts. But he became of a book of fundamental questions. What is this India? Apart from her physical and geographical aspects, in the last chapter, he feels confident enough to offer an answer, writing that India is a cultural unity amidst diversity, a bundle of contradictions held together by strong but invisible threads. She is a myth and an idea, a dream and a vision, and yet very real and present and pervasive. Nehru's conclusion might appear frustratingly vague and contradictory to aspiring students of India's history, yet India as both an idea and an entire has endured for thousands of years, accommodating a diversity of religions, cultures, languages, ethnicities, and castes. India has had that past tradition of synthesis. Nehru pointed out the speech in 1956. Adding, currents came to it. Rivers of humanity flowed into it and got mixed up with the ocean of India, making changes, there are no doubt, and affecting it and being affected by it. Nehru took for granted an importance of discovering India, but for many outsiders, making the passage to India, to borrow the title from E.M. Foster's book, is challenging. The country's culture and linguistic complexity is extremes of wealth and poverty, is mosaic of regions and rituals, and its conv- convoluted and increasingly contested history might deter all. But the most committed, it may seem impossible to meld overlapping culture, political and social currents into coherent and a comprehensive narrative. As the Bengali author and scholar Nirad Chaudhry, 1897 to 1999, who wrote the book who wrote back. What happened? I'm reading. Question: what does India, the country, and the Indians of America have in common? This is a $1,000,000 question. It will great if you find the true answer and share. Yeah, of course, I will. I will share it. Of course, I will share. I hope I find it. What does India, the country, and Indians of America have in common? Okay, I'll repeat that. I'll give it to you, but don't interrupt me because I want to remember where I stopped from. Okay. As the Bengal author and the scholar Niraj Chaudhry, 1897-1999, wrote back in 1950s, India is so vast and so populous that individuals who form an exceptions may well run into millions. Whatever the handles Indians complexity put in the path of students and historians, it would be a folly to ignore the wider lessons of the country's past and present. India is the world's oldest civilization and its largest democracy. It is the fulcrum between the eastern and the western parts of Asia and the assertive Indian Ocean power. It is also changing rapidly, ditching the last remnants of the socialist experiment that guided its economy for decades and adopting to a new world order where its rhetoric of non-enlightenment, its refusal to side with one superpower for another has less and less relevance. India has yet to replicate China's shiny bullet trends. It's it's glittering, glittering maker. Oh my goodness, English. Whew. Will change rapidly. The latest comments of systemic guidance and economic details, adopting new stuff, and rhetoric of non-alignment, the refusal of sign with the superpower, then after less than then. India has the two publications and China's its giant factories producing laptops and smartphones for tech hungry consumers around the world. It has also been poorly served by its democratically elected leaders who have constantly failed to harness the country's full potential, reaching natural resources and with an immense pool. We are still into introduction of highly educated, the globally literate workers. India holds a huge promise. By 2025, 1/5 of the world's working age population will be Indian. And a billion Indians will be connected to one another and the world through smartphones. India population is expected to overtake China's in 2027 as both countries notch the 1.5 billion mark. By then, India five largest cities will have economies of comparable size of middle income countries such as Serbia and Bulgaria today. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, India was on a track to become the world's third largest economy as early as 2031. After China, the United States measured by the market exchange rates. Unlike China's history, which can be divided neatly into dynastic periods such as those of the Yuan, the Ming, or the Qing, India's past is untidy with disparate and competing centers of power. Even the height of its imperial expansion, India's three great empires, Mauryan, Gupta, and Mughal, did not control the entire subcontinent. It was not until the defeat of the Marathas in 1818 that Britain could make that claim. Even then, the priceless state, which covered the fifth of India's landmass, were home to third of India's population, retained some nominal independence. To include here the reign of every ruler on the subcontinent the fortunes of all its major and minor dynasties, and the outcome of every battle for a territory and wealth. Not to mention India's contribution to the world in the fields such as science, literature, and art will be self-defeating, I think. Jumbled mass of names, dates, and declaration devoid of texture and depth. It has been challenging to condense 5,000 years of Indian history into a couple of 100 pages while trying to convey these subtitles. Really? I think subtitles, it is necessary. Another one, okay. Interest. What's in a name? What's in the name? What's in the name? For traders and invaders who made the long trek over the Hindu Kush and arrived on the plains of what is now Pakistan's Punjab's province. The first significant geographical barrier was the Sindhu River. Unable to pronounce the S, the Persians called the river the Hindu. When the Greeks arrived in the 4th century BCE, the H was dropped and it became the Indus, as it is known today, and the lands beyond it. Voila, the root of the word India. The root of the word India. In the same way that America and Australia are inventions that bear no relation to how the pre-colonial inhabitants referred to their lands. The name India never really took hold until the European trader encounter of the 16th and the 17th centuries brought to Indian shores Portugal's Estado da India, the Dutch Verenigde Oost-Indische Company, French's Company des Indes, and finally Britain's East Indian Company. A more common name was Hindustan, which refers to the land of Indus, rather than land of the Hindus. I think you understand. Finally, Britain's East India Company. A more common name was Hindustan, which referred to the land of the land of Indus, rather than land of the Hindus. Maybe there you understand. Hindus. We have Indus and Hindus. Okay, Hindus. The generic term Hindustani was commonly used to refer to anyone who came from what was then British India until the early 20th century. The Sanskrit name for India is Bharata. You understood? The Sanskrit name of India is Bharata. No wonder we say Bharati. Okay, Bharata, okay? The Sanskrit name, did you know the Sanskrit name of India is Bharata? Let's first pause. Wait a bit. Okay. I was saying, did you know that the Sanskrit name of India is Bharata, which was defined in the 3rd century text in Vishnu Purana, the country that lies north of the ocean and the south of the snowy mountains is called Bharata. For there dwelt the descendants of King Bharata. It is 9,000 leagues in extent, and the land of power and the land of works, its consequences of which men go to heaven or obtain emancipation. The opening article of the Indian Constitution states, India, that is Bharati. Remember, the Sanskrit name of India is Bharati. Bharati shall be a union of states. Geographically, it is relatively simple to define the parameters of India and Indian civilization over the millennia. Approximately 180 million years ago, the supercontinent of Gondwana. Oh my goodness, these Sanskrit names. Okay, began to break up with the Indian plate drifting in the northeast direction at the rate of around 15 centimeters a year until it collided with the Eurasian plate nearby 55 million years ago to create the world's highest mountain range, the Himalayas. The 2,500-kilometer long range marks the northern boundary of what is referred to today as the Indian subcontinent. Oh my goodness. Quadrilateral in shape, its eastern extremities are hemmed by the jungle-clad ranges that form the Indo-Myanmar border. In the west lies the Hindu Kushi, where the Bolan and Khyber passes became the pathways of waves of invading armies. The subcontinent's southern boundary is a massive peninsula that protrudes like a spearhead into the Indian Ocean. Okay, today the subcontinent is divided into 5 nations. India is the largest of these, with an area of just under 3.3 million square kilometers. Of all of the contested Kashmir is included, is measured almost 3,200 kilometers from north to south and 2,900 kilometers from east to west. It is also called the most populous, home to approximately 1.4 billion people. It shares land borders with the other 4 countries of the subcontinent. Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, and Bangladesh, as well as with China and Myanmar. India is also one of the most densely populated countries in the world, with around 400 people per square kilometer, twice that of China. As with Egypt of Mesopotamia, which flourished on the Nile, Tigris, and Euphrates rivers. India's earliest civilization grew up around the fertile floodplains of the Ganges and Indus. From its source at Gangotri in the northeast, the Ganges cuts through the Himalayas before it flows eastwards and merges with the Brahmaputra. Brahmaputra River from one of the agriculturally richest deltas in the world, encompassing the modern Indian state of West Bengal and the independent nation of Bangladesh. Okay. Sure, no problem. Okay. Again, introduction. Okay. South of the Vindhya mountain range, which divides the subcontinent neatly in half, is the Deccan Plateau, bounded on the other side of the eastern and western Ghats. The major rivers of the Deccan and southern India include the Narmada, the Godavari, the Krishna, and the Kaveri. One of the most anticipated announcements in India is the annual monsoon forecast. The southwest monsoon, which begins in June and lasts until September, dumps approximately 80% of the country's annual rainfall. Parts of the northeastern India receive up to 14,000 millimeters a year, while the western desert of Rajasthan can get as little as 100 millimeters. The monsoon is crucial to agricultural output in the country, where only half of the farmland is irrigated by rising food prices and cutting rural incomes. A poor monsoon can topple a government. The subcontinent's river, mountains, and the coastline define its sacred geography. Varanasi, also known as Kash or the City of Light, is located in the Ganges, sacred to the god Shiva. We say Shiva, no, okay, but then we say Shiva. Okay, Shiva. The city is as holy to Hindus as Mecca is to Muslims. The Vatican is to Roman Catholics and Jerusalem is to Jews. For Hindus, it is a place of spiritual liberation. To die here to achieve moksha or freedom from the endless cycle of rebirth. Upstream, at the influence of the Ganges, Yamuna, and mythical Saraswati rivers is Prayagraj, formerly known as Allahabad, the site of the greatest gatherings of humanity anywhere in the world. The Kumbh Mela, which occurs every 12 years, they devote prims carried jars of scarlet gauges water to the dozens of holy places scattered around mountain ranges, rivers of coastlines. When Sufi mystics practicing more devotional form of Islam began arriving in India early in the last millennium, they too established networks of dargahs or shrines such as of Nizamuddin Awliya in Delhi and Muddin Chishti in Ajmer, one of the holiest places of Islam aside from Mecca and Medina. The web of pilgrimage routes crisscrossing India, including places carried to Sikhs, Jains, Buddhists, and Christians through formidable, the subcontinent's geographical boundaries have always been porous, allowing new cultures, agricultural practices, languages, religion, and even methods of warfare to take root. The nomadic aliens who spread into northern India and the steppes of Central Asia were fought by the armies of Alexander the Great. From western China came the Kusanas, and from the Central Asia steppes, the Hunas, a tribe related to the Huns. Chinese pilgrims seeking scholarship and enlightenment made their way to centers of learning such as Nalanda, considered the first university in the world, where the subjects taught ranged from Buddhist theology to alchemy and astronomy. The rise of Islam in the 17th century made the presence of felt through trade, then conquest, culmination with the establishment of Delhi Sultanate and the Mughal Empire. Even at the height of Mughal supremacy in the In the 17th century, European powers, including the Portuguese, Dutch, French, and British, had footholds in India. Over the millennia, the influence of Indian region, thought and science would spread well beyond its borders, giving the world everything from the decimal system to yoga, from Bollywood movies to vegetarianism. The legacy of British colonial rule integrated the English language with the masala of Indian words, Bangalore, Polo, Gymkhana, Lut, Mughal, Django, and Thug, to name just a few. Indian soft power predates the Raj by 2 millennia. In c. 240 BCE, the Third Buddhist Council held in Pataliputra in the country north was instructed by the emperor Asoka. Okay, to send emissaries to nine countries to spread Buddha's teachings as early as the first century CE. Hinduism was making its presence felt as far as away the islands of Java and Bali in the Indonesia archipelago. Oh my goodness. The archipelago by the 1960s and 1970s, gurus such as Maharishi Mahesh Yogi had become household names in the West for preaching the benefits of transcendental meditation to the Beatles, and thousands of Western were making the hippie trail. India's other outstanding gift to the world has been its diaspora, numbering around 18 million. It is the largest in the world. Zubin Mehta is a name synonymous with the conductors of Western classical music. Night Shyamalan's films indicated the genres of scary movies with twist. CEOs of Indian heritage had major companies including Google, Twitter, and Microsoft. The diaspora's reach was symbolized in January 2021 by the swearing in of Kamala Harris. By the swearing in Kamala Harris as the first American vice president of South Asian heritage. As the ceremony was beamed in live to their smartphones, the residents of her ancestral village of, oh my goodness, these names, Thurasendrapuram, about 350 kilometers from Chennai, lit firecrackers, distributed sweets and flowers as a religious offering, and prayed at the local temple for her welfare. Nehru once compared India's ability to absorb and conserve ideas from abroad to palimpsest, an ancient manuscript that is written over again and again without completely obliterating the layer before. The following pages of the short history aim to bring those layers to life. We are still going on. Don't worry. I'm still with you. Of course. I'll share. Okay, chapter 1, Lost Civilizations. Oh no, the light. Okay. The last civilization. In 1856, I'm going to read only this. Let me see how many chapters. One. I don't want to have so much lost civilization. Lost. Oh my God. It's too much. It's too much, but it's okay. Let's try. Okay. Chapter 1, Lost Civilizations. In 18, you know what? That was the introduction. We're gonna go for the chapters. I think that's okay.